world, anyone out there listening, welcome to episode 1 of Erik Brown, more like an introduction episode. Well, I'm not even sure what to call it, so I just put my name. This is basically just monologues and dialogues about anything and everything in life. So, yeah, just life with Erik Brown. Pleased to meet you. Many of which, these monologues and dialogues, will depend on what guests I have on the show. Right now, it's just me. But since it's just me, well, here are my list of interests, just for you to get to know me a little bit. I'm a Christian, so yes, I believe in God. Let's just get that out there. Probably not the most popular thing to start off with, but I am a Christian. I go to a church. I am actually a pastor's son. Name is Scott and Gloria Brown. Those are my parents. And the next thing that I really love and enjoy, and is actually one of the things I'm going to study throughout my life, are movies. I enjoy being not only a spectator, but a participant. So I'm not just watching movies, which, yes, I love to do. I absolutely enjoy watching movies, series, analyzing them. One of my favorite things to do with my dad is actually just pausing the movie and analyzing. We're trying to guess where the story is going. So we definitely paused it a lot during The Irishman. And no, we did not guess where the movie was going. Anyway, we're just going to talk about more about that later on, and probably have my dad as a guest on a show to talk about some movies. We love that. Another thing we have in common, but it's definitely something of my interest, is MMA, mixed martial arts. Man, I love it. I'm convinced that if my body weren't so fragile, I would be still participating in this as well. I didn't say, in movies I like to not only watch, I also like to participate. Just before I continue with MMA, speaking of movies, that's what I'm going to study. I am an actor. I've not been in too many things, but I have definitely written some short films and directed them and acted in them. I just enjoy it. I enjoy telling stories. Going back to MMA, I have practiced Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, and just MMA in general. Now, when it comes to Taekwondo, I got to, I think it was a green belt. Don't know, it was years ago. Definitely green belt. At least I got there. So it was something I enjoyed. My teacher said I had a future. She was wrong. Well, I probably do. I'm still young, 21 years old. But I definitely enjoy it. UFC, man. I love Saturdays with UFC. Sometimes Fridays, Sundays, normally Saturdays, and I just enjoy it. I enjoy it entirely. And last but not least, I'm sure there's a million things I also enjoy, but most of all, I like talking. So that is essentially why I'm starting this whole podcast, I guess, about life. Because I just like talking. I'm not in it to get famous, to get 1,000, 1 million views. I just really enjoy talking, and especially having conversations. So it's going to be very, very interesting whenever I have guests accompanying me in this podcast, conversing about whatever it is they bring to the table and I bring to the table. And the point, though, of this whole thing is to add value. You know, it's talking with purpose. It's whatever. It's life. It's everyday life. But it's with a purpose, you know. And the objective really is to create a respectful and conversational community. Whether it's me doing a monologue like right now and the conversation is with you in the comment section, perfect. That's great. That's still having a conversation. I can reply, and I can make videos in the future about whatever you comment. Whether it's that, or whether it's actually having somebody on the show, on the podcast, and talking about something, it will always be with respect. That's the objective. The problem with this world, though, is that not everyone in the world is respectful and given to having a nice conversation, but I'm going to do my best. I am going to do my best, and we're going to have a blast. We're going to have a good time. With you guys, the listeners, whoever's on the show, me, I know I'm gonna have a blast at least. I hope you do too. At the end of the day, we are all humans. Number one, we all have our own opinions, and we are all still learning, and that is very important, especially to this podcast. This podcast will exist with the objective of learning. learning, learning, learning. No matter how insignificant the subject is. It can be so insignificant, but there will always be a lesson in anything. I don't know if you've realized that in your life. Definitely realized that in my life. There's a lesson in absolutely everything. The most ridiculous thing you can think of on the top of your head right this second, there's a lesson there. It could be small, but it's a lesson. And that's what this podcast is going to explore. All these lessons. It doesn't matter how small something is. The other day I scratched my behind and like a typical man, I smelt my fingers. We do that. Yes. All right. Yes. We do that. My wife was not impressed and made a not impressed face. More like a disgusted face. And there's a lesson even in that. Putting smelly fingers to my nose will not impress my wife. So don't do it. There's a lesson, right? I recently watched a children's movie called Magic Camp. That's what I watched on Disney Plus. A cute phrase in the end was something along the lines of, you don't have more magic in the world by making more magic. You have more magic by making more magicians. And that's wonderful. It's not like the best movie in the century, but even there was a lesson, right? And I think there's a lesson in absolutely everything. Crazy or normal, small or big, outstanding or hidden in your family or in unknown people that you meet on the street. There's a lesson in anything. In any direction you turn, there will always be a lesson. Anything, everything, and anyone can teach you something if you're in the mood to learn, right? So if you're in the mood to have a conversation about anything at all with humor, respect, and sincerity, you have come to the right podcast. And that's what I want to leave you with. We will talk about everything here and learn at least one lesson from it all. And that is my short introductory episode. I'm not going to talk about much, just introducing myself. At your service, whatever you want to talk about, tell me. We'll talk about it and we'll learn something together. All right, this is Erik Brown signing off. Episode 0. See you next time.